movies that suck, but also whatever cooks. But if you give us too much shit, we'll just get pissed off and quit. So don't do it. It's time for Marvel Comics Spotlight Show, telling you everything that we know. It's time for Marvel Comics Spotlight Show. Let's go.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Weird Science Marvel Comics podcast. I'm here with my man, Matt. What up, Matt?
What up, Jim?
What up? What cooks? This Marvel's like, my wife. Ain't no cooking going on around here. Also, if this podcast starts with me cursing, I apologize, because I had a problem with the theme and ended up cursing and then realizing I probably won't remember that I
just
did
leave
that.
it in.
Yeah, I don't know. That was a pretty bad curse. It wasn't just the normal, regular walk-a-day curse word. That was a big one. But here we are. We have two books that me and you are going to talk about. I'm not sure what we're going to do after that, but it might be just that. But they're pretty big books that are going, and you've been bailing out of the Marvel podcast lately. So at least we have a couple books that you liked. You actually like both of these books.
Yeah.
And one of them, I'm telling you, there's a sliding scale when it comes to Amazing Spider-Man. I can tell, even with myself now, I'm desperate to like any issue of this book. This, in my mind, is still not the greatest, but it gave me the most hope that it might be kind of cool by the end once we got through it, that I've had since this whole place started. And as we talk now, you have to hear that,
I heard
right?
that. Yeah, what
yeah,
was
this nonsense. It's like a bandsaw going right next to the freaking. Today there was jackhammers going on and whatnot. They never listen to me. What time? It's 9:30 at
Aren't
night.
there noise ordinances in your town about
there's
construction?
going to be in a minute, and it's going to 5-finger ordinance. But here we're going to start with the Amazing Spider-Man, and it is the stuff in space. And Pepe Larraz's art, pretty darn good.
Yeah.
Joe Kelly has a couple funny jokes, and there's some characters that we might end up liking or caring about. One not being Symbi, though. I think.
Yeah, you keep trying to get him in there. He's not that funny.
Yeah, I think that's ridiculous. There is a breakout character in this issue that made me laugh so much, and yet they leave him aside. And I hate when you have that, where there legit is really funny character, and yeah, they don't seem to get it. But it's written by Joe Kelly, art by Pepe Larraz, color art by Amarte Gracia and Eric Arcianega, letters by VC's Joe Caramagna. And yeah, and why I say about this other character, don't even have him in the beginning with the, the heads and the,
He's on the cover though, but not.
Yeah. I just standing there, even there, I don't know what I thought when I saw him. He reminded me of something else or another character, but I'm like, okay, I don't really know. But boy, they really want to push the Symbi, and Symbi would be a pretty cool little plushie. Give him that, but doesn't really do anything in the book, and we'll see. I think that it's basically, let me make a Jeff the Land Shark out of a symbiote. That's all it seems like. But we jump into this, and the one thing I do have a problem with is we have now, a few days ago, next week, 2 years from now, we jump a lot around in this timeline, which is annoying, especially because it doesn't really do anything. What you're setting up is this Xanto Starblood, who is the doctor, and I'm surprised he probably would be mad. He didn't go to evil doctoring school to just be called Xanto Starblood, but they have to decide what to do with them. In the meantime, they're doing what is some sort of heist, possibly exchange, possibly something, because we never really get to know exactly what they're doing. They're going to grab some stuff once they're there, but that seemed like it was in the, we could do that now. Like they weren't aware of that. It really ends up where it's just to present some action and get a scene going on, but I don't really know what they're really, really doing, but trying to say
it's like a cold open fight thing.
Yeah. But the problem is it keeps going back to that because of this jumping back and forth. So when you go and you have, Spidey there in his new spacesuit, Rocket, they're attacking these kind of, nobodies as they're there at this whole play. I'm telling you, I can barely even explain what is happening because of the idea of it being such a cold open. But they're in Galathea 3. There's parts with asterisks with the, hey, see Imperial.
Yeah, they're fighting some kind of bad corporation or something.
Yeah. And it just seems like they're fighting it just to fight it, like I said. And then they're like, oh, well, there's the contraband stuff that we can go steal. It just felt weird. Like, hey, they're fighting big corporation. We just go with it. But in the meantime, when they're like, see Imperial, I'm like, you ain't going to get me to see shit. I ain't going there.
Jason and Ruben can cover that.
Yeah, that's their shit. I
didn't even read the bubbles where it referenced it.
No.
I skipped right over it.
Yeah, screw that. So you end up where you go in, and it's a cool fight, and the whole play will keep being, I'm sure, throughout. It's Spider-Man dealing with a lot of people who want to kill people. And I'll tell you right now, I don't know what's going on in Imperial because my name is neither Ruben nor Jason.
Ruben.
But when you end up in space, and you do have kind of a breakdown of law, but I don't even care. If there's full-out law in space, you can't just go into space willy-nilly. Just find yourself there and then start demanding, oh, get this. We're not going to kill anybody. We're not going to. This isn't Earth. And Rocket says it a bunch of times. Like, I don't know. Your weak-ass planet makes you think that there's justice, but there isn't. I'm fully with Rocket. You're in space. Shit is bad out there. It's the Wild West, and you're acting like you're in, downtown Philadelphia.
It's the final frontier, Jim.
Yeah, it is. Don't even bring that up. Nonsense, right? Who has the red shirt on? It'd be funny if suddenly we see. But in the meantime, they're going to bribe the Gothons to get in. But like I said, I'm like, by the end, I'm not really sure what was going on, and I don't think you're supposed to care that much. But it is a big part of the issue, but the fun is kind of the characters, and that's the back and forth where then they go back and they're trying to figure out what to do with Xanto Starblood. Rocket wants to execute him. You end up where the joke then is each person who steps up is like, I don't think we should execute him. And then Peter's like, thank God somebody has some, common sense. What we should do, and it's this Raylith comes in and she goes, what we really should do is make sure we could extend his life and then torture him for all this time. Then we'll kill him. And Rocket says at one point, like,
he's
is the kind of
guy. His little hands.
Oh, yeah. He's like, I like this girl a lot. And Peter's like shaking his head. It's funny enough. But again, I don't really know why they are accepting Peter fully. And at one point they even go, oh, so I guess you're the leader? And then he says, well, I don't know I don't know why he is. I mean, in my mind, Rocket should be the leader.
He has the most experience. He knows what he's doing.
He's there. They all must know him because he was there as well. Now, you do end up at points where the Xanto starts explaining that he only picks up people who are like really down in the dumps. But that doesn't matter. It's taking advantage of these people who have some problems. But in the meantime, Peter's going to make him in a well-oiled machine. That's what happens. But we end up where we get the breakout character. Because as they're doing this, and you do jump back in the fight, but the fight really, it's not much going on. You already see that Xanto is going to live. So that kind of throws off all that other talk. In the meantime, he has like the worst pair of undies you'll ever see.
Well, they said they're exploding underwear, so there was a funny joke about him blowing up his penis.
Yeah,
I thought it was pretty funny.
It's like a suicide vest, but in a way, it looks weird. He calls it something about like it's like a thing that keeps his powers down, but it really does look like it's like a really low budget Suicide Squad type of thing where he has exploding undies on. Also looks like you do not want to jump in the pool with those. No. I think you'll get electrocuted.
Yep.
But yeah, he's walking around with exploding undies. And then you end up where you get this other big guy, but they even recognize him as being part of the Black Order.
Yeah, it's what's his name?
Black Dwarf.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, but he kind of looks like Xanto too. So in the
art
was the
problem.
Got me confused a little bit.
And
sometimes,
the art's good in this, but he looks. I thought that it was going to be one of those of like it was Xanto's brother or something. It really looks like him, but it's Black Dwarf, and they're like, oh my god, it's Thanos, one of Thanos' guys. Are you familiar with him? Yeah, I am, so that's why we have to hit him hard. But as I said, we jump back again in the discussion of what they should do with Xanto. But again, obviously, we kind of know that he's going to be living. So there you go. So they're talking. This girl's like, hey, we should, end up torturing him. Then Peter's walking around and he has to get splooged on, by Simbi. for them, just like, oh man, it's just to let you know he's there. There's nothing to it. It looks like bird shit or oil.
He splooged them. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's like, and he's laughing. And he's like, and Peter's like, I hate symbiotes. That's it. That's the intro into this character, just to then, so you remember that in fact he's in there and he gets, splooged on Black Dwarf there. So when Black Dwarf gets it, even then I thought, I think they're going to kill him. Like Peter keeps yelling about killing, but the idea of having a symbiote go into your, innards and stuff and kind of like, I don't think I would die, but Peter's just doing his thing. But the breakout character, as I said, is Nile. I guess you'd call him. Yeah, Nile.
Like nihilist, kind of, but Nile.
Yeah, and he is kind of. But what he seems to be, he's like a thumbhead who is high as shit because he ends up and they're there and they're talking about what they should do with the prisoner. He doesn't seriously seem to think that he knows who it is, but he walks up to a tree that's in this ship and he goes, man, look at this tree. He's like, anybody look at this tree? And this is where I'll tell you that I really think that Joe Kelly does a great job of giving you dialogue that usually in something by Dennis Camp is supposed to be taken seriously because it's fucking not, now I'm cursing again, stuff that's basically the highest shit talk. Because he's like, this tree is so chill. Like it's here in a metal box hurtling through the blackness of space, surrounded by our negative vibes, but it's still growing, even though it can't put down roots. Anger is in the metal box we're in. And he's just going on, and the look on his face, he is so high. You end up where Rocket goes, dude, Niall, were you out of your gourd? And he goes, well, I don't think so. But when we were let go, I did go right to the meds and took them all. He's high as shit.
And it's funny, too, because everybody's watching him talk.
Yeah, they're just watching.
Like 20 people
and they're all
watching
just like, what the? And he's doing the moves, too, like he's like the most profound thing. Then he forgets what he's even talking about, because then he goes, hey, you out of your gourd? He goes, I don't think so. I mean, I got in the meds as soon as I was free, but what were we talking about?
He looks like he sounds like Kelsey Grammer or something like that.
And it's so good. And he's like, what were we talking about? And then you end up, Xanto goes, whether or not to extinguish the greatest mind for 37.8 light years in any direction. Dr. Xanto Starblood, your savior. And he goes, oh, wait, you're Xanto. Oh, never mind. We need to toast this dude. So good. That's the best part of the issue. It's so funny that he's just so high. And Peter is stuck. And then they're all cheering now. Like Niall is like the greatest thing ever. They're cheering. And Peter's like, we're not doing that. Come on, guys. And then we go back to the fight. And then even in that, you end up with Niall, who's there while they're all fighting. He's just in the cockpit. And he's like, nice work with the violence, everyone, but we should wrap this up and make our delivery. It just cracks me up. Again, the delivery, but what is that? But they end up
what's his deal? What are his powers? What is he doing?
Like, what, Niall? I think he's just high as shit. and so Black Dwarf ends up where he's going to fight. So they're going to go back and forth. He's beating the shit out of everyone. And then Peter steps up, gets that girl's staff, combines it with Symbi. And pretty much Symbi does it. He ends up wrapping around, and then they kind of electrocute him with that from within. And when he falls down, I'm like, I think Peter just killed this guy. I mean, It looks like pretty bad, but that's a big character to kill. And all Symbi does is laugh during that. Not even really good. It's not like when they're running away, he's there, but
it does look cute though. With he's cute enough. Yeah, but he doesn't do anything yet.
It's not doing anything. You gotta have it where it's gonna start eating people's legs. And hey, Symbi, stop! That's what they do. But Jeff the Landshark work for that. But yeah, they end up where they do all this, and then, hey, let's go to the contraband locker. There might be stuff that folks need, Peter says. And then Rocket says, man, you're starting to sound like a smuggler, friendly neighborhood smuggler. And that's the big gist of this. But in the meantime, you do see them dropping off stuff. But again, I don't know what it is. If you're going to play it out like it plays out here, it feels a lot like Firefly. And when they would go and steal things, and then they would take it to a colony that needed medicine or whatnot. I think that you have to play that out.
You know what it reminds me of too? Futurama, where they fly around to getting crazy stuff on the ship, different things.
Yeah.
Kind of like
this
that.
Just feels like it's Peter's getting them to, hey, we're going to steal. This corporation makes medicine, but it costs too much, and these people need it. And I'm telling you, the way that those people that they go and give them, they look sus as hell. I don't like the looks of them. But then Rocket, because Rocket,
they look like Sith Lords or something.
Yeah, it did look, or even like a little bit like those guys who did in the, I don't know, whichever that second ass prequel movie. Where those big long guys at that outpost.
Oh yeah, the cloners.
Yeah, the cloners. So it's been so long since I saw any of that. I know more about Star Trek now, and that's pitiful.
Thanks, Stork.
But you end up where they're there, and where Rocket's really good with emotional kind of things, and I think that Joe Kelly plays it right. At the beginning, Rocket's pissed because he says to Peter, those guys, or that Santo experimented on me, and you know how I feel about that. That was pretty good. And in this, he's always good with that, like when he calms down and he's not just cursing or whatever, to get to why somebody's upset. And he says, hey, we could just go back to Earth. Why aren't we going back to Earth? Why are you doing this? And Peter's like, well, and then he turns it around and says, why haven't you called Quill or Drax or Groot? And it's pretty good. In the meantime, Peter could say, I just want to help some people out here because that's what they seem to be doing.
I'm out here. I might as well stay for a while. That's what I would
say. There's all you guys need help. I want to help because he does say he wants to get everybody back to their home. That's where I do like when Rocket says, oh, that'd be great because one of these could be a fucking serial killer. And the minute we get back, he's going to kill a planet. How are you going to feel about that? And he's like, well, that's kind of true. But he says with this, why don't you go and he says, why don't you call Quill, Drax, or Groot if you want to know why I'm not going back? And then Rocket goes, you're an ass, must come with the name Peter, which was kind of funny. And then you end up where Symbi has to come in and interrupt, but it's like not even like Pepe Larraz thinks that that's real important. It's never like really well done. It's like a weird silhouette, and he's like, Symbi, no. And he's like, hey, good luck finding brains in that idiot. They'll become friends. Symbi will become the next group for Rocket in this book. It'll be set up. But
yeah, probably.
The big play at the end is, and I'll tell you, this is the weird thing. Now, it will be a problem if we say we do 2 issues of this, then go back to New York for 3, because when you come back then, it's been a while. I actually forgot what Santo even was until when we started. I'm like, oh, yeah, that was the guy. That was.
I kind of like Peter. Him. I think Peter was kind of a dick to him. I don't know. I know he's torturing animals and stuff, but he was nice to Peter.
Who do you think wrote I'm a stupid, ugly loser?
Rocket, maybe?
Do you think, or was it Symbi? He wouldn't have been able to. Maybe it is Rocket. Rocket has some problems, but he's writing. What is he? Part of the Little Rascals with those letters
I think you have
backwards?
to be you have to be more intelligent to mess up that much.
Yeah, exactly. You're doing it on purpose. It's like you're there selling lemonade, and you want to have people feel bad for you. So
it's like those
turn
people.
Letters around.
It's like when they try to say, "Hey, draw this like a 5-year-old," and you can't do it unless you're a really good artist. Then you can do it.
Yeah, that's what it seems. And he doesn't even like wipe it off. But
no.
He goes and says to Santos, like, oh, you finished, giving your justice talk and whatnot. And Peter's like, you know what I need. I want you to have to keep our training going on. That's why he didn't want him killed. But I think that he could have told him that. I legit think that he could have said, listen, Rocket, at least to Rocket, that Santo's been training me. I need to get stronger for a guy I have to fight on Earth, and I'm not going to go back until I do. So that's why I'm keeping him alive. And I think Rocket would say, okay, well, once you get stronger, then we kill him. And then just do that. But he says, I'm going to get back to work. The art changes a bit for that last page.
It's an interesting concept to making Peter stronger. I kind of like it. If it works out, it might be cool how it plays out.
Yeah, it's weird. He should just take steroids.
Or some kind of augmentations or something.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he's going to be a better fighter? Or is it fully the stronger? Because they were doing some weird stuff, but I don't know. It feels weird. Suddenly, his head's going to swell really big, and he's going to, bat fourth for the freaking San Francisco Giants. That's what's going to happen. But what would you give this?
I enjoyed this one more. I think it was funny, some parts, and the art I obviously liked.
I actually laughed at some.
I'd probably give this one, I think I might say 8.
I'm not going to go that high. You're as high as Nile.
I was going to say 7.5, but I think
I'm
I like
go 7.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But I'm looking forward to see if it goes. Now this was all set up though, because the idea of now it could get really good. because I had fun with a bunch, but it still was like, hey, we have to set up Xanto. We got to get.
And now we got to
this.
go back to New York, huh?
Well, that's the problem. What I was going to say and what I meant earlier, even if you keep going back, if you go back to New York for 4 issues, when you come back, you're going to have to recap a bit. You're going to have characters say, oh, we did, and I don't need that for the first 4 pages. You have a recap page, but I'm saying in story, I don't need them to do that. I'm having fun with it. Just go with it. So,
well, this reminds me wholeheartedly about Greg Rucka, Wonder Woman.
Yeah, and when you had the year
both things
one
were
and
good. Both things remember it was 2 different stories. And you'd have to like remember, hey, I like both the stories, but
because I reviewed the one and Eric reviewed the other, and it drove me nuts.
But you're getting a rhythm, and then you're kind of like you have to remember what's going on.
Yeah, that's what sucks. And now if the New York stuff gets better, because this is definitely better than the New York. First off, it's Peter. That's who I kind of want to read. I'd love it if he wasn't in space, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. The other stuff it's weird. Peter's in space with a drugged out thumbhead, Rocket Raccoon, a baby symbiote, and some other characters, and yet that's nowhere near as crazy or convoluted as what you have in New York City. Like that whole bit with Ben and Norman, it's all convoluted bullshit.
I think he's doing a good job of introducing these random characters.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
More so than like Jed McKay with his stupid villains or whatever. Like these people seem like they might be memorable in some way.
Yeah, because you don't have like the god, and then that person's like called the Black Sims. I don't know.
The reason I say
it's the worst.
The reason I say that is because Pepe Larraz was the artist on a lot of that stuff, and it was just nonsense that he was drawing.
So you're saying these guys are better than the Blood Coven?
Yes, I'm saying
or the whatever that.
There was a couple other ones.
That main one that in the Avengers book that I can't even remember. That stupid Living City nonsense. That was nonsense. There's a lot of nonsense going on in Marvel, but we'll go to the next book, which is number 1. They don't lack number 1s either. That's one thing. That's good or bad, but this one's pretty good. This is actually, I was surprised. Not that I was saying like, oh, Eric Larson. I don't really have a lot of history with Eric Larson.
I like him a lot.
And you like him. So when this got into it, I was like, okay, Spider-Man Noir. There was not real recent, but a recent one that our man, Juan, man, I didn't love the series, but I loved his art. So I ended up checking it out. I don't think we talked about it much, though, because it wasn't great. But this is pretty good. And the art's really good.
We were talking about it earlier. It's very good.
Yeah, Andrea Baccardo. Yeah. I don't know who that is, but it's
some Italian artist is good.
Pretty damn good. Yeah. Eric Larson writing. Rachel Rosenberg colors. VC's Joe Sabino on letters. Of course, when I read Andrea Baccardo, I'm like, who's this lady?
It's a guy. I looked it up.
It's usually in the Italian deal. It is. There's a couple of times this has happened to me, but it's really good. It actually fits this type of story. It would do well with a Cap story, I think, really well. Something like that.
Invaders.
Really cool. Yeah,
Invaders
really
book.
cool. I mean, really gets a lot. And again, doesn't mean that they can only draw 1939 art, but they do a really good job of it. Now, in it, you end up having Spider-Man Noir. It's a lot of narration. It's a lot of kind of getting you on board with things, and I think it might go a little too far. You don't really need like the hand-holding at the beginning is fine. Even that first page, where it's like, hey, and it is, the narration's breaking the fourth wall. It's really talking to you as it goes, but it's pretty cool. I like it. The Scorpion Gang is there doing a heist. He comes in, explains that, I have guns. You might not be used to that. Aunt May's been bitching and moaning at me, but she'll die soon. Anyway, she's old as dirt. But the idea that he's like, hey, when you go into a fight, you need to have the same firearms as everyone else. So he said they're armed to the teeth, so I have to be. So he does yell, hey, boys, you want to calm this down? When he's talking, it's kind of funny, but these guys have to be freaking annoyed with him. Where you have this guy come in and Spider-Man Noir, and he's just like, hey, should we put down the guns and fist fight? They're like, I don't think so. And they do kind of beat the crap out of him for a while, but there's some good jokes in it. And I do like the look of the Scorpion Gang. They're really, really cool.
Well,
the way they're drawn.
I've seen different iterations, a couple where he's kind of like more stoic and noir. This is basically just Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's Spider-Man. The one I'm used to like I said, my main thing was the video game that I ended up, and people will probably know the one. It had like different levels that you were different Spider-Man.
Yeah, he like barely talks.
And and so that's tough.
Yeah.
If you end up having that, you need a sidekick. You need something to talk off of, and you don't have it here, so he has to talk, so he does. But a lot of it's in his head.
Yeah, that's true. But he makes jokes. But then there's also the guns, which are weird because some iterations he doesn't have web shooters.
Yeah.
In this, he has web shooters. So why isn't he just using those?
Guns? He just explains that he's going to use them because they have guns. But I like that there's like just jewels all over the place.
Yeah, I know.
And there's talk. Yeah, Eric Larson does a good job of saying like, "Hey guys, I know it's tough. Like it's giving you the time frame, but in a goofy kind of way." You end up where that Batman the first night and the second night, where that's dealing it in a more serious way. Mm-hmm. This isn't really dealing with it serious. It's dealing with it almost. It's weird because of the time frame of 1939, but it plays off like a Silver Agey kind of like let's joke around and have fun with it. And I don't mind that.
No,
I like it though. And then you have this one big dude. The one guy, he just shoots the gun right next to that other guy. And he's like, what the... And he's like, hey, whatever, let's go. And hey, we can take this guy down. There's a big fight going on. Like I said, I do like the look of this gang. Just with the almost like a grifter look from DC, which is pretty cool.
Yep.
And yeah, he's just going around. It's a long battle. I mean, this takes a while here as he goes, but it's fun. You're just getting the character and getting the quips. And he says he likes to press the flesh, so you know he's a little sexy. And then he, falls in. And the funny thing, he's like, oh my God, you didn't tell me there was a dead body here. You legitimately saw that body like right in front of him in the first page. Like it's there. And he just didn't pay attention. It's the one thing that I like, holy shit, they killed policemen.
Hey, he's slipping on the blood.
Yeah, it's disgusting. But this one guy ends up saying, I'm going to shoot you right in your face. The joke here, though, is that these guys, and they're all like, standard Joes from 1939. They all have plaid shirts. And he's like, you got me with my weakness. Regular guys in plaid. Oh, my goodness, you got me. And he's joking around. I'm like, I don't know if you should be joking right now about this. You need to get out of there, at least stop these guys. And then when the guy puts the gun in his face, and there's going to be a couple references to old thing. Well, I'll get to one later, which is funny. But he ends up throwing a guy against this guy, and he kind of, he just throws and knocks things out.
And he shoots a guy in the shoulder.
Yeah, he shoots that one guy. He had to. The guy was going to shoot him. But then he kicks the one guy and says, it's a fly ball to center field. You're out. Kind of an odd little play-by-play there, but he's knocked out, so I'll go with it. And yeah, he ends up where the other guys run. And then he's like, hey, listen, you guys, what were you doing? I didn't see you here before. You playing cards? Like, everything's extended a little too much, but it was fun.
I like these little kids watching.
These kids are good, and I'll tell you, the Asian girl is like, she's the breakout character, has 2 lines, and is the cutest. That's how you do it. You end up where you have somebody hating on the hero, and then this little girl likes Peter and actually even convinces her mom things will get to it. But that was classic. And these kids are great. I'm like, I guess Yancey.
I seen it. I ain't blind.
They just came right from Yancey.
Yeah.
That's all they did. They're there. It's there. I'm sure that there'll be some assholes out there who'll be like, oh, what is it? The Burger King Kids Club? Screw that. It's very
little rascals or something.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. And I like it. Did you see that? I seen it. I ain't blind. That kid's named Porky.
Yeah, he should have said, I seen it. I can still work out.
Yeah, really. What do you think I am, Daredevil? I can't work out. So you end up, I did see today that there was a tweet, and it was just some lady. It was a little political, so I won't get fully into it, but it was just like, what do you see when you see this picture? And this guy's like, all I see are 2 beautiful ladies. I'm looking at this guy. I'm like, something weird with this guy. And I check his profile. He's blind. I'm like, you ain't seeing shit. He's like, what is that? And I did tweets. I'm like, oh, I thought that was funny. And then I looked at the profile. I'm like, what the?
You couldn't help yourself.
Yeah, I couldn't. So I got into fights with a lot of people today. I've given up any sort of care on anything. My shit's given or gone. So you end up where you do see Spider-Man Noir. He's going to go off. He ends up kind of saying, I ain't sticking around for the cops, though we kind of have a little bit of a relationship, but it's kind of strange, whatever. And he does peep in on the kids And it's funny. He says, show's over, kids, time for bed. And for some reason, when I first read it, I thought that he was talking about himself, like not telling them to go to bed. I thought he's like, show's over, I'm going to hell to bed, boys.
Yeah, I think I read it that way too.
Yeah, wasn't he saying that he's really tired or something? So
he's not like, looking at him when he says it.
No, so I thought he was just like, show's over, I'm going to bed, you asshole scatter. But I think he's saying, hey, go to bed, kids. And then these kids, and the one kid goes, gosh. But then they're like, we ain't got no parents there, Spider-Man. What? Where are we going? But he zips off. It's fun. And then he goes back, and he mentioned that he was in the Spider-Verse when he came back. He owed rent, this and that, everything's being shut down. You end up going off to his private eye place. And I'm telling you, it's cute because this lady is yelling at Peter. You need to get the rent. You do this. You promise me that. And this little girl is like on his seat on the other side of the desk, and she's peeping out. And that's the thing. The mom says, I've been patient enough. If you don't have money by tomorrow, you're out on your ear. And then the little girl goes, please, Mama, Peter. And then she goes, Friday, no later. And I thought it was cute. And I'm telling you, when she walks out and she's dragging her mom out, like trying to give Peter
bye-bye, Peter.
Bye-bye, Peter. And he's the only thing that I don't like, he never says anything to her. He
doesn't recognize kids. This little Carol, he doesn't talk to her.
Yeah,
Weird.
He should say thank you, whatever. And maybe I'm guessing that in this, because it's, this whole crazy Spider-Verse deal, that it is somebody, that it might be a young version of somebody. And that's why he doesn't say a name yet. It's weird that he doesn't say thanks, see you later. So you get the idea that the mom can be a little soft because Peter's really nice to this girl. And legit, we're getting to a point where these two might be looked at pretty poorly once the war would start, if we end up in that sort of way.
Japanese-American internment camps
so
or something like that.
You have Peter, who is a really good guy. And I do like also he's got like 80 Band-Aids on his face, but he looks good.
Like a wreck. He's a good-looking Spider-Man.
Oh, and the art's great. So he lies. He says this lady, I have a big client, and I'm going to do this. He's just trying to buy time. And then as they leave, Gwen Stacy shows up, and you have the classic, and walk the door, she walked through my door, and she looks good. The whole thing looks great. And she comes in and she's there and says, I need somebody to figure out you were recommended to me, and I need to find out because my dad died. My dad got killed, George. And so it's a good play with a Gwen and the dad being dead and stuff like that. I thought that was really cool. And he says, yeah, I'm going to take it. He keeps like kind of mentioning money and then feels bad about it to make himself, it makes him look good. But she does have money. So she gets money, which the jerk seems to want to pocket and go and do whatever and not pay the rent right away. Just pay the rent. He ends up getting caught by the landlady as he's leaving. But then the phone rings, and then you have Eric Larson has to explain why the phone would have been shut off. And he's just like, they're not very good at the phone company. And then Aunt May gets on, old spinster herself gets on, is like, I don't like you using them guns. I'm like, shut up, man.
And she knows he's Spider-Man, too.
Yeah, she does. And legit, Peter in this, I'm kind of with him. He's annoyed with her. He ends up like, man, all she does, what she knows, I'm Spider-Man. She's there with just trying to help with the advice. But here's how it says. He goes, I keep telling myself that Aunt May means well. But ever since she found out I was Spider-Man, she's been, quote, just trying to help with the advice. So he's annoyed with it. He's been away for a while, too. He's still annoyed. But also, him and Mary Jane broke up. And, of course, Aunt May is big friends with Anna Watson. And she's going to go to the World's Fair. There's mention of that and a bunch of things like that. So
when are you going to the fair, Peter?
Man,
it's so nice.
What's up with Mary Jane? What are you two? Oh, we broke up. Oh, no. Oh. I do like at one point when he does go and visit her, and he just doesn't want any parts of her talk. Because she keeps saying things, and he's like, fit as a horse. And he keeps mentioning it because she just keeps bringing up bullshit. But he goes out, he has this money. The landlady knows and comes out, hey, was that your big client? Give me the money. And you see the little girl, she's like hiding behind her mom. She's just so cute. And and so he's like, he's so like, okay, here's the money that I legit owe.
Mm-hmm.
What a deadbeat. And then she says, you're lucky I don't charge you interest. And then the little girl goes, good luck on the case. I'm like, she's so cute. He does not say thank you. He doesn't even mention her. You think she might be dead?
Maybe it's I see dead people situation.
What happened if we find like it is some freaking ghost or something? Because boy, he does not react.
The lady interacts with her though, doesn't she? Like
she never says anything, I think, to her specifically.
I think that kid's dead.
Yeah, because she's there and it's like, please, Mama, Peter. And almost like she's dead and she's influencing her to do things. She likes Friday no later, but never says, you're lucky my daughter's so nice. Now, the girl does grab her by the arm to pull her through.
But she could just
door,
be walking out.
But she could be walking out. And then she says, bye-bye, Peter. But
there's something going on with that
ghost
kid.
Girl, though, right? It's so weird.
I don't know. It's Spider-Man Noir. It could be.
But he never reacts to her, and he should. It got me mad. The first time I thought, okay, whatever. But when he does it here, I'm like, you jerk. Like, she's so nice. Give us a name or something. Say thank you, whatever. I don't know. But he goes to the morgue to see George Stacy's body. The sus mortician, that guy. This guy with crazy mustache. But he's kind of very, nondescript. Well, that's... at first I thought he meant I didn't realize that it was a bullet. I thought it was a slug. I thought that they were, the slug might be it, but we did find him underwater. I'm like, that's probably just because he was under, it's a bullet.
No, a slug.
And why? It's almost like they have it there, but in a weird way. And I don't know, on that slab still got blood and shit on it. You got to clean that stuff up. But Peter's like, well, what is it? And the guy says, well, he could have been shot before he was in the water. He could have got shot while he was in the water, but whatever. He got shot. And that's it. This policeman comes in and says, what the hell are you doing here? He's like, well, whatever. And then you end up where he's like, this isn't the Wizard of Oz. Beat it. It's a weird play where he's like, I'm on the case. And the guy says, and I'm the Wizard of Oz.
There are a couple of Wizard of Oz references.
Yeah, and that's where I'll get to the other one, which is kind of funny. It's kind of a wink, wink one that I don't know anybody, or does anybody get it anymore? But you end up where he comes back. And he says, this is odd. And then he finds this strand of thread. He says, I'm going to take, I don't know if he gets it, though. Because as he's doing this, the cops bust in again. And he gets out. He has to escape. He ends up webbing some guys, but says, this is odd. And there are legit 4 cops that come in here in the middle of the night because of a body. And he says, they're protecting this body a little bit too much, like more than anybody who's alive. So they really want to be keeping me out of there. It seems like it's nonsense, but he then goes and he's getting shot out, but he goes back to see Gwen. And at that point, you have this weird play where Gwen's like, hey, Peter says, does your dad have any other things, enemies? Does he have any journals, whatever? And she goes, I don't know. We could check. And there's this, it's like Fort Knox in this apartment, in this house. And yet she's like, I don't.
Safe. Yeah.
And he's like, do you know the combination? She goes, no. I'm like, why'd you show him it then? What did you think would happen? Though he says, it's not a problem. We'll see. And he has his finger pointing.
This is like an apartment out of the Gilded Age or something. This is a beautiful place.
And
brownstone, I guess.
Number one, there had to have been people who are smart enough to realize, like Peter says, this guy's salary did not pay for this. There's some weird shit going on. And again, we'll find out at the end what it is, or at least what he thinks it is, because he's looking up some stuff. He goes and sees Aunt May. And Aunt May is like, hey, you look thin, you got to eat. I eat like a horse go. But that's where we get the other Wizard of Oz, when you end up mentioning it, where you should go see a movie. It's like, I don't know. Oh, we went and saw the Wizard of Oz. It was great. And then Peter says, I've read the book. And then he says, Dorothy's supposed to be a little girl. Judy Garland isn't a little girl. And I laughed. And I'm like, oh, at least I got that right, because it was supposed to be Shirley Temple. And she couldn't, because they wouldn't allow the contract to jump studios. So she couldn't do it. And then they got Judy Garland. And then they mentioned that. So I'm like, there you go. That's completely legit.
Yeah, I didn't know that, but it makes sense.
Yeah, so what he says...
I'm glad they went with Judy Garland.
Yeah, and what he says, like, they should have gotten Shirley Temple. And then Aunt May goes, oh, my God, can you imagine her singing Over the Rainbow? And Peter's like, there isn't music in the book.
So I agree with Peter 100%. I think I'm waiting for a Wizard of Oz with no singing in it. I don't want any of that.
There you go. But they end up where, legit, the studio heads hated Judy Garland. They didn't want her in it. She was too old. There is a legit thing where one of the big heads of MGM or whatever it is, who was the studio there, called, like Judy Garland would be walking down the hall and he'd say, "Oh, there's my little piglet." And then say
she was considered fat back
constantly
in the day?
Would tell her that she was fat, that she was ugly. At points, I'm telling you, he would be vicious. But like people would be like, "Oh my God," like there'd be an MGM party. And they'd be, "Oh my God, Judy Garland's here." "Oh yeah, I invited that ogre." Like shit like that. He was awful. But again, most of the people were. There's a lot. If you want to hear some horrible things, read what Shirley Temple went through. And like times when she was 7, getting chased around desks by, head guys with their pants off. And she'd have to escape it. And they would make crazy ways to get her mother separated. It was awful. It was awful. And again, why people wonder why, the tables finally turned or whatever. It's because of people getting abused constantly. But Judy Garland seemed like such a nice girl.
I know.
She was just told she was ugly and fat. Also, there's a point where I'm telling you, the things that you could read, they had this thing where I forget who the other person was, but it was between these two. And the guy pointed to I want her. And the guy misread what he said and got Judy Garland. He didn't even like, what? I didn't want that one. Like so weird stuff. And they had cut Over the Rainbow from the movie. They didn't want it in it. They thought it was a shit song. And then they just put it in for time. And it's
easily the best song on there.
It's huge. It's one of the best songs of all time. I mean, it's huge.
It really is.
That and Yesterday. But actually, Yesterday is like the most recorded song of all time. Never was a favorite of mine. I really don't like it. But you end up where Peter leaves, and then we get this, like, we had a cold open, and this is like a cold middle in this book, because then he says, "I'm going to go, and I can, eat, I could do all this," and he does later, but even then he ends up fighting, what is it? Flengen? I
checked out on that one. Some crazy German name.
Fliebermann.
You should be able to pronounce it.
Yeah, I'm telling you. I used to speak some, but not that. Let's get Niels. But he ends up where
he'll pronounce it. Don't challenge him.
There's like it's just a Nazi bat. And I do like legit, this guy flies by giving the Nazi salute. It looks it made me laugh. That's so funny to me for some reason.
That's
but
it.
He's very very crazy looking, but in a cool, like, comic booky way.
He's like Baron Blood kind of guy or something.
Yeah.
Something.
It's if this was an amalgam deal,
Nazi vampire.
Yeah, it would be like Man Bat combined with like Red Skull.
This issue's giving me this almost like you could just slot Batman into this. It's very similar to a weird Batman
issue, but I do like it. It's like little vignettes that you go with, because he's actually stolen like some of the registers at the World's Fair. So he's going around with this money bag. Money's flying everywhere. And he's getting beat. Peter's beating him up. He has these like mechanical wings type deal that Peter breaks. That's how he falls. But the money breaks open and everybody's just, look, this one lady looks like she's just seen a ghost. The other guys, I swear to God, you could turn this scene with them. It looks like the two guys are shooting dice. Yeah, and everybody else is yelling and screaming.
Oh, yeah.
And
they're all betting on the dice game.
And the lady looks like she's just seen like somebody's pants came off or something. She looks very shocked. And the police end up not real impressed with the idea that they got Nazi Bat. They're mad because Peter didn't get all the money, this cop says. And Peter's like, or Spider-Man says, "Hey, we're on good terms, right? We're kind of good now." And the guy's like, "You could have gotten the cash." And he's like, "What's the use?" And then he goes off. It's kind of funny. But again, the big play of this is the George Stacy stuff. There's a lot of other fun stuff, though. And at the end, he goes to the diner. He says he actually had a $5 bill that kind of got wedged in. And he goes to this diner. There's a mention of a Victor, and the guy's a big dude with mutton chops that might be, Sabretooth.
Yeah, it looks like
way. Yeah, so you end up, and there was recently that Sabretooth, almost like the Gangs of New York thing. Maybe he's just hanging.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it was good. And yeah, this girl, I thought she looked a little young for what Peter was kind of hitting on, but I guess not. She kind of looks a little like Mary Jane in a weird way, but Peter's like being nice. It's like, hey, and she's like, hey, you can order just coffee again or whatnot? And I'm like, at the end, she goes to this guy, the thing, and he's like, hey, also have Murray fry me up a couple of eggs over easy, some corned beef hash, with a
stupid
side
wheat
of wheat cakes. And she's like, oh, God.
Only Aunt May makes that
That's
crap.
the thing. She's like, heavens, nobody orders freaking wheat cakes except this little 90-year-old lady who comes in and bitches and moans. But yeah, they go and say, hey, Murray, you owe me a dime. The bum actually ordered me food. I'm like, you just made a pretty likable character just a scuzzbag to me.
Well, he probably comes in there a lot and doesn't order anything.
No, he orders coffee. And I'm telling you, you're old enough, I think, that it's this whole thing that people are so used to free refills on things. It wasn't always the case. I have a feeling he was, maybe coffee in there, but he still ends up buying something and coming in. And he's nice. He's not like a jerk or anything.
He doesn't look like a bum.
No, she looks like a jerk.
Yeah.
And then says it. And then, says the bum. Now, again, it could be that it's the terminology. Hey, but no, the way she says it is, and they're betting. That's the thing, too. If you're going to bet, that means sometimes he has to buy food at some point. Because if he's never bought food, who's going to bet? Who would be the bettor that's going to say the guy, oh, you owe me a dime, he ordered food? Like, why would she do that? It's very odd.
I don't know. She's bored. She's working all day. She's making stuff up.
Getting hit on by Sabretooth.
He's going to tell me Peter's trying to bang her, I guess. So
yeah, he's all into it. It'd be funny if she's there and she's like, I'm not going to go away with you. And then that little Asian girl's there and says, you should go. Goes, hey, Peter. And she's like, well, maybe I will. Like now she's just like a mind
she's just influencing everybody.
The best. Oh, it'd be so good. I like that little girl. I hope she's not Ghost Girl. Nobody reacted to her. It's so weird. But then he gets this weird play at the end where he's going through these files and he goes, oh, man, I see this. That's why George Stacy could never afford that apartment on a cop's pay. I thought it was going to be legit. I thought this was going to tie in that, oh, my God, he was a secret agent with my parents. I thought it was that play. Nope, he was part of the Scorpion Gang, it says.
Mm-hmm.
And then ends up with the weird play that he says, and George Stacy was a member of the Scorpion Gang and his killer was Spider-Man. And then I'm sitting there thinking, like, why would that be in clips and things that he's seeing here? I guess this is his files, but you never did see him go into that vault. But again, I don't know. It was weird. But again, we'll see. We'll see what the deal is. But it's pretty good. It's to be continued. It says this. I hope this girl ends up falling into traffic. Just gets run over because she's being a jerk. And then he walks by and says, "Who's a bum now?" and spits on her face. Then I'd like Spider-Man even more. But even the end, you have that like almost newspaper-like deal. It looks pretty cool. But what would you give it?
I mean, I'm going to go pretty high. I'm going to give this one a 9, I think.
I'm
like it a lot.
An 8. I'm giving it an 8. I liked it. I thought it was
good for you.
Yeah, and it has to tighten up a bit. I'd rather it deal with it's fun to have like one kind of, hey, there's Spider-Man doing his thing. I mean, we got 3 times as much Spider-Man as we have in the past year and a half in Ultimate Spider-Man in this because he's fighting and whatever. But I think that in this, with the Spider-Man Noir, part of the fun is the noir and the detective stuff. Yeah, you had that at the beginning with the Scorpion Gang. That was enough. You didn't really have to fight the Nazi bat, but it was fun. It was kind of cool.
I think this is kind of Eric Larson's like backdoor pilot into writing Spider-Man again. Maybe.
Yeah, that'd be cool. From what I see here, I wouldn't mind that. So we'll see. We'll see what it is. I don't even want to. I'm trying not to look at Nick Lowe's low down.
He shouldn't even be involved with this.
He says it's the spookiest month. And it's spooky how much awesome spider stuff we have. Eric Larson returns this time as writer of Spider-Man Noir #1 alongside artist Andrea Braccardo to bring you the pulp heaven as a new femme fatale enters Peter Parker's PI office, Gwen Stacy. It's not as annoying as usual. Usually it's like, can you believe it? I can't believe it. Ghost Girl. We'll see. We'll see what the deal is. Then he goes on to mention a bunch of different... I guess J. Michael Straczynski's back, too, for Amazing Spider-Man Torn. Isn't that a Natalie Imbruglia song? Torn. And then says, JMS has revolutionary spider ideas. This time, they're with Perry Perez. So there you go. I don't. We'll probably be reviewing that anyway, but you have all that
why
going
not?
on.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, so I'm 8, you're a 9. Pretty good books, but we're going to go off now. We may be going to something. We may be going to the end. This happens a lot, but it's the scheduling. I will not find out until tomorrow morning if I'm going to be recording any more this week. So we'll see. And Zach actually asked if he could record maybe a book or two at some point. So we might be able to throw a book. He likes a couple things he was mentioning, but the problem was, I'm like, oh, yeah, well, what are you reading? What do you want to? Well, I'm reading Incredible Hulk, but I do that with Gray. And then I think it was another one that me and you do. But he said I'm going to start giving him the review copies. He's going to catch up. And lo and behold, I did get a hold of one Brandon with an E.
What do you say?
He wants to review some stuff, but he did say that he was drunk as hell, and I'd have to get back to him. I forgot to get back to him, so I'll have to get back to him. But it was 8:30 in the morning. I got a hold of him, right? 8:30 on Sunday, a.m. I said, hey, there's some people asked if you would want to do Marvel reviews again. He's reading the Absolute stuff, the DC stuff. So I figured I could. And I said, there's always number ones. And he's like, I've been tailgating for 2 hours, and get a hold of me tomorrow and let me know. And I'm sure we'll figure something out. That meant he got to the tailgating at 6:30 a.m. Buffalo. I'm like, you are insane.
The Bills are undefeated right now, as are the Eagles. The only 2 undefeated teams. So let's let them lose a couple, and then we'll get them. We'll get them.
Yeah, we'll do that, and then we'll make fun of them. Also, then he sent me a picture of him, and his picture was, "Hey, look, I made candied bacon." So there's this spread of candied bacon, and then like 2 minutes later, he wrote, "Oh no," and they must have knocked over the candied bacon. Bunch of drunks picking it. One guy looked like he was picking stuff out of like off the ground and eating it. It's all in denim and stupid vest. He has new end zone seats.
Wow!
Told me with the new stadium. So with all that, yeah, he's a highfalutin guy now. But with that is it. So we'll go off. I won't put anything here. If you hear the ending, obviously the song, then it's ending, but me and Gray might be doing something, me and Jason, we'll see. But thanks for joining me, Matt, and we'll see what is next.